and welcome to this video in which I'll be telling you who I think will qualify from semi-final number 1.
A disclaimer. I hadn't addressed this before because I had hoped that the EBU would come to the correct decision by now, but since they have not, I do need to address it myself. Israel should not be allowed to participate at the Eurovision Song Contest 2024. If Russia hadn't been banned in 2022, maybe we'd be having a different conversation right now, and on a personal note, maybe Eurovision wouldn't have become such an important part of my life, but this is the reality that we are living in, so this is the conversation that we are having. Regardless of what you think of the current atrocities happening in Gaza, intentionally cutting off other people's access to food, water, and electricity is abhorrent, not to mention the act of killing. If you think governments and broadcasters should be considered as separate entities, consider the situation with Russia again. There is a video explaining why Israel shouldn't be allowed to participate linked in the description, and the creator also calls to action about what you can do yourself. Please watch that video and do something. Further resources are also listed as and when they become relevant. I'll stop talking about this when it stops being relevant.
I'm currently at a train changeover in Magdeburg, and I figured that's enough time for me to film this video since I have it prepared already. Now, there will almost always no doubt be shock non-qualifiers who we just cannot predict. Like even some of the people I'm most sure about putting in 3rd or 4th spot, if things go badly for them and well for someone else, they could always non-qualify. But based on the current information, based on everyone's current stage performances and the expectations we have of them, because a lot of people can improve, I think this is what I predict will happen, and I'm trying to keep my own bias out of it. So this is truly the songs that I think will qualify, not my top 20 of the 31 songs competing in the semi-finals. These placements are based on who I think is most likely to qualify, not necessarily their placements within the qualification, but those do largely overlap. And I am taking rumours into account. One of the rumours is that maybe there'll be 1 jury qualifier and 9 televote qualifiers, which would change it. That rumour I'm taking out of the running. The rumours about the staging, those I'm keeping in. In 15th spot I do have Moldova. I just do not see how this will qualify. I just do not see what is so special about this song, and I don't know how the staging could be elevated enough for it to be special enough to get through to the final in such a competitive year. In 14th spot I've got Iceland. I do enjoy listening to it when I'm listening to it, but I don't know like what it can do in the semi-final because it has its place in Eurovision 20 years ago, but not right now. In 13th spot I've got Azerbaijan. I think it's a fine song, but I don't know who will the target audience be when there's other ethnic songs that are maybe more interesting. Yeah, I just don't see how it could make it through to the final. In the 12th spot I've unfortunately got Australia. I really do like it, but I just think the staging for 2000 whatever was pretty messy, and I don't know what they're hoping to bring for One Mil Kalai, but a little bit worried. Great singer and pretty cool song, but maybe that's not enough this year unless the staging is also all that naturey physics stuff. Maybe that can elevate it enough to just about scrape into the final. In 11th spot I've kind of controversially with myself got Cyprus. I think it will be a great stage show and almost certainly the opener, but I'm worried that with her being so young she hasn't got the experience to make it look professional. I know she is a professional and I know she can dance, but it does sometimes look like she's too focused on it and not in the flow of it, let's say. And I'm worried that that can get picked up by the televoting audience on the night. In 10th spot, just scraping into the final in my opinion, I've got Poland, but honestly Cyprus and Poland could easily switch. I think the song is fair enough, but why I think this will qualify over Cyprus is because Luna seems to be a really visually striking person every time I see her, and I reckon that will get translated to staging. We don't know that yet. There's been only 1 live performance in Melfest weekend, but I reckon she's got enough of a visual flair that it could qualify. In 9th spot, I do have Portugal, despite what I said in the reaction video. It's starting to go on me personally a little bit, but I've also started to understand the lyrics, and if there is some kind of translation of the lyrics done for the televoting audience in any kind of way, then I think it could definitely qualify. There's people who really enjoy that Portuguese sound who will vote for it, and a lot of people on the internet are saying they do get the emotions of the song from the dancers. I didn't personally on my first reaction, but maybe that's enough for some people. In the 8th spot I've got Ireland. They're kind of the only person serving the gothy niche, so anyone who wants that kind of music will definitely vote for them. And the music video was very striking, so I think a lot of people will vote for it because of the visuals, even if they're not so sure about the song itself. In 7th spot I've got Luxembourg. I think a lot of people will vote for it because it's fun to have a new country back, and because it's in French there'll be people who like it because it's not one of the basic English songs, but it does have the English chorus to draw more people in. I've heard the staging will also be changed and be a little bit more bright and airy like the song is, so that also works out, and I reckon it will be making it through to the final. In the 6th spot I've got Serbia. I do think people will get it from the flower, that it's pretty and whatever, and I also think Teodora is such a good singer that it will convince people anyway, the song. So there's a few ballads that have to go through because not everyone loves the up-tempo songs, even though that's what the televote does tend to go for, and I reckon Ramonda will be one of them. In the 5th spot I've got Slovenia. I think Raven is very striking whenever I see her perform, so that will also translate well. Good stares into the camera and everything. And I think with the song having that bridge, which is always stuck in my head, and I think that's very rude because Bojan wrote the bridge, the Ja sam ti si Veronica. That's the bit that always gets stuck in my head. It's his fault anyway. I'm confident that Raven can bring a very good staging to Malmö and qualify without too many issues, unless she really doesn't manage to bring the staging, and then it could be left in the semi-finals. In the 4th spot I've got one of the most hyped up songs, Luktelk, which I'll be very surprised if it doesn't qualify because it's just so slick and such a good sound, and even if it's in Lithuanian, people don't care because it just sounds like a fun song to listen to. So I do not see a world in which this doesn't qualify. I'll be very shocked. In the 3rd spot I've got a song of which the staging seems to be a televote magnet, Finland, No Rules. I think it's just so extremely crazy that that's what a lot of televoters do want to go for, and like Henry does actually sing it well, so I think it will qualify, and fairly highly as well. I'm worried about it in the final though afterwards, because there'll be more crazy songs it's going up against, and the juries will also not give it as many points, I reckon. So I think it could qualify in a very, very high spot from the semi-final, but then not really do much in the final. In the 2nd spot I've got Ukraine. I think their song is very powerful. It started to grow on me a little bit as well, but I just think they're just two excellent performers that they really do have to make it. Maybe not necessarily in 2nd spot because it's pretty high for a ballad, but I'm pretty confident that it will, which is why it's in my 2nd spot right now. And it's got the rap bit, which draws more people in than just a standard ballad, so best of both worlds kind of. It's got some words in English so people can gather the basic meaning of the song, and I reckon the staging will be elevated from Vidbir, and Vidbir was already pretty effective, so I think it should qualify. And in the 1st spot, and I'll be actually very surprised if this isn't the semi-final one winner, is Croatia, Rim Tim Tagidim. Obviously the Neon Cats are going to be a draw because everyone loves cats, but the song is also more of a draw, I think, the first time you listen to it. It has a really, really strong impact, and the first listen is so important. A lot of people will be listening to it for the first time. It's so much and so impactful and so cool that I really, really think this will be the semi-final one winner. Could be someone else maybe, but I reckon it will be Rim Tim Tagidim. So even if it doesn't win the whole thing, which is looking less likely by the day, I think it could definitely win semi-final number 1. Especially if Baby Lasagna elevates his vocal performance and a little bit the staging as well. That's who I think will qualify, but I'm not very confident at all. There's not much information either. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, that got something out of it. I'll see you in the next one, and that shows up on your feed. Bye! Your country back, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it does.